All right, it's 7:30 p.m. We're going to begin this regular meeting of the Rutherford Board of Education, October 2nd, 2023. We're going to ask everyone who can to please stand, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian,
Present.
Mrs. Cole,
Here.
Mr. Conti,
Present.
Mr. Healy,
Here.
Mrs. Jones,
Present.
Mr. Mazzone,
Here.
Dr. Racine,
Here.
Mr. Sprayberry, Dr. Olati.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Rutherford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted on the bulletin board outside the Borough Clerk's office, mailed to the Herald, South Bergenite, and the Record newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Hard copies of the agenda are available in the meeting room, and the agenda is posted electronically on Friday before the meeting date on the district's website at www.rutherfordschools.org. Subsequent to the meeting, a video of the meeting will be uploaded to the district's website, www.rutherfordschools.org. The video link can be found by opening the Board of Education link and clicking on Public Meetings and then Videos. All right, board members, there are two sets of minutes to approve this evening, our regular meeting and executive session minutes for September 11th, 2023. Anyone have any questions or comments about those? Seeing or hearing none, I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please enter those. So we're going to begin this evening with a special presentation. I went recently to a calendar to look at what kinds of things were going on in April of 2000. And in April of 2000, Michelle Kwan became the first American since Peggy Fleming to win 3 world figure skating titles. I actually proposed to my wife in close to April of 2000. And Shelly Ahmed began as a Board of Education member during the election, which used to be held for Board of Education in April of 2000, which means that Shelly served 23 years on the Board of Education, and this evening it's our honor to recognize her. Shelly served during her years on the board on many board committees, and she was the longtime chair of the Personnel Committee. She was on the board for 2 successful referendums, in 2002 and in 2019. She was also very active in the PTA, both as a parent of students in the district and as a PTA board member. She was supportive of the school's co-curricular programs, especially athletics that her sons participated in. Shelly always put the needs of the students first and was a strong advocate and supporter of the teachers and the administrators. Whenever we had special guest presentations, at least since I've been on the board, nothing brought a smile to Shelly's face more than seeing students present and demonstrating their brilliance in one way or another. Shelly's expertise and background as an educator was valuable to the board's overall perspective, having worked most recently as a teacher assistant for the South Bergen Jointure. She worked with generations of board members and superintendents and helped on various occasions to remind the most recent boards of institutional history while collaborating to move us into the current chapter of board service and excellence in the Rutherford schools. On a personal note, I've always said that I feel that when you put your heart into something, it hopefully doesn't feel like work. And along the way, you make some good friends and you get deeper into a shared experience of something like Board of Education service. And I can say that personally to be true, and I regard you, Shelly, not just as an esteemed Board of Education colleague who's had a deep impact, but as a friend and a great person that and I think I speak on behalf of all of us, have been honored to serve with. Shelly, in your honor, we present you this evening with this gift as a clear signal and token of the district's appreciation of your many years of board service and the value and passion you have brought to its schools. Congratulations, Shelly, on 23 amazing years.
I'm sorry if I'm a little hard to get myself together today. A few words of wisdom I wanted to talk about. Praise teachers and students when you see they're doing great jobs. Get to know fellow board members, not just only the two whom you have to run with. An example, when interviewing 20 candidates, say for superintendent, try to compare them to someone that you resemble so you could remember them. For example, I remember a unique character I thought of when he interviewed for the superintendent position. He was a spitting image and had the same demeanor of Sherlock Holmes. To this day, I can't forget him, nor will I never forget how my mom and dad took care of my boys when I wasn't home during the day. And my husband claiming that when he walked in the door, the boys were his, and I didn't have to worry about it. A special shout out to my friends and kids who started school together. Michelle Marsico, Helen Schneider, Rhonda Maselli. We ran 3 carnivals at Memorial Field for Washington School. We had 14 children combined and made friends at Washington School and sat on every PTA board, lifetime membership. We could bring our kids to Burger King on Fridays for lunch before they had the play area. The employees would stand by the door, and when they saw us, they would scream, "They're coming! They're coming!" I enjoyed wholeheartedly PTA, PT Council, Word of a Lifetime membership. I didn't know you were, going to say those wonderful things about me, or so I put some in. And I thank all who had elected me to represent their children for make sure that the education they could possibly have came true. And thanks again for re-electing me to the Board of Ed for so many years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ahmed. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hurley for a couple of words.
Dr. Alati certainly, usually I do this to Dr. Alati. I say things, and he says I was going to say it. But he certainly summed up a lot about you, Shelley. But, as someone who known you, 30 years, 35 years, I hope I'm not the Sherlock Holmes person. Yeah, okay, we'll say a few years, right? A few years. When, as a parent, when your children were in school, as a PTA member, as a board member, when I was a principal here at the high school, and then obviously as superintendent. And in all those different hats that you wore, parent, PTA member, board member, Rutherford citizen, right? All the different hats I wore, it always was the same kind of relationship where, as Dr. Alati said, you always had the teachers and the kids in your heart. And I think if we could go through our career and, we always are going to hopefully always make the right choices. Sometimes we make the wrong choices, but again, if our heart's always in the right place, that's the best thing that could be said about anyone. So on a personal level, knowing you for all these years and working with you and with your children and with your family, I want to thank you. And as a superintendent, I want to thank you for all you've done for the district and for the kids and for the teachers throughout the years. And you're not going anywhere, right? You're going to be around, so you can still work behind the scenes and with us to help keep the ball rolling forward. So thank you all, Shelley. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any comments from board members? Ms. Jones?
I have served with Shelley for 18 years, and it's been my pleasure every year. The one thing that I just want to say, no one could pronounce the names better than Shelley. Over the years, she handled all the most difficult names with great finesse. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
Mr. Mazzone?
So I haven't had the pleasure of serving with you for 18 years, but for the last 7 years, it has been my honor, my privilege. I remember when I was first appointed to the board, I think it was the very next day you had called me, offered me your counsel and advice, and I greatly appreciated it. And just thank you for all your service and your support.
Thank you.
Mr. Ely?
Yes, Mrs. Ahmed, thank you for being a mentor and helping us. Who, like Mr. Mazzone, I joined about 7 years ago, and through the years, yes, you've helped us. So thank you for that.
All right.
I
Well,
just wanna-
thank you again.
Can I just
Ms.
make one more comment?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Sculp.
Shelley, congratulations. I wish I could have served with you, but I know I have some big shoes to fill. And you've been on the board since my younger sister's been in RHS. And thank you for making this district the way it is, so people like us that are alumni have our children growing up in Rutherford. And that's greatly because of how much you care about the school system. So thank you so much.
Thank you, honey. I'm so glad you're sitting there.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you again, Mrs. Ahmed. We really appreciate you being here, and it's an honor to be able to honor you. So now we get to hear from our student representative, Poppy Benson, our junior.
Hello, thank you. So for RHS, this month has been especially busy with academics and extracurriculars. For starters, the school-wide homecoming weekend was this past Friday and Saturday. I know there was a big crowd and a pretty generous amount of people there to witness the Dog Pound's energy. The game and parade are a great way for students to display their school spirit, whether it was through their class signs or the parade or just being involved in the student section in general. And it was also a great way for the cheerleaders, all those involved, including the band and football team, to show the hard work they put in. Speaking of the marching band, they recently began their competitions, with the first being held yesterday at Madison High School. This is a way for musically inclined students to begin to prove what they work on throughout the school year and prove this dedication. Many clubs have had interest meetings and are kickstarting their activities. Some of these include the Ski Club, which have begun their signups for the winter season, the Equity Club, who have become collecting volunteers for younger grades to read to younger grades, and also Heroes and Cool Kids, which have also accepted their members and begin to train them in the coming weeks. Today being October 1st also prompted students to wear blue to show their solidarity against bullying to kick off National Bullying Prevention Month, which is this October. On the academic side, seniors have begun applying for potential colleges and gaining interest in these colleges through representatives from different schools that have visited RHS. SAT and PSAT testing is coming up for sophomores, juniors, and seniors looking to gain competitive scores and advantages for these colleges and applications as well. One final note is a shout out to an RHS student, Ariana Medina, who scored a perfect score on her AP drawing exam from May 2023. This work has been recognized in the school, and the art community and all of RHS is super proud of her and appreciate her representation of our school in such a positive light. That's all I have for tonight, so I thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bimson. Questions from board members, comments?
If I can just add to the AP test score, which is remarkable. I think she's one of like 300 people or something like that in the world who got the perfect score. But today, I just found out around 4 o'clock this afternoon that once again, I think it's maybe our 4th year or 5th year in a row, the high school was put on the AP honor roll by the College Board, which means the percentage of students taking the test, number of students taking the test, the percentage of students who are scoring 3, 4, or 5 on the test. And I think that's a distinction that really is says a lot about our students and about our faculty and our staff, not just in the high school, but throughout the district, because the foundational pieces that get built as we move along. So I do appreciate you mentioning the AP score, and it was a good introduction for me to do that piece. I also want to mention the homecoming. It was 400 plus kids right at the dance, and the students at the game and in the parade. But once again, Miss Ahmed, as we have a small but enthusiastic crowd of supporters as we marched on the parade, but Miss Ahmed was out there on the corner cheering us on. So, we appreciated seeing you there as well. But it was a great day all around for the students and the band and the teams. It was just a good opportunity for everybody to come together. So thank you for mentioning that.
All right. And I wanted to make sure not to mention or congratulate you on being one of the homecoming royals, so I won't do that. But,
Thank you.
Congratulations. Your parents told me to give you a hard time once in a while, and since they're here, I thought I would do that. So any other questions or comments for Ms. Bimson? All right. Hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Bimson. We always appreciate your well-rounded reports. You're more than welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting. If you do have to leave for homework or other reasons, we do understand.
Well, you are part of the next presentation, too.
Yeah,
Right,
I'll
so
say
you got to
that.
stay at least.
Got it. Oh, yes, right, of course. Okay. Excellent, very exciting.
Yes.
So I will turn it over now to Mr. Hurley for the report of the superintendent.
Thank you. Majority of my report tonight pretty much will be on the REF grants. And I'd like to, first of all, thank the REF, the Rutherford Education Foundation has been involved, I guess, Dr. Lightwell, for about 19 years now, 20, something like that.
20th anniversary.
20th anniversary. And started out as a small group of folks. The awards used to be, the grant awards used to be $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a year. This past year, the REF was able to award 24 grants for a total of $102,812, and an additional $4,450 from the Casananti Fund, which was money the Casananti family has contributed to the REF every year, bringing the grant total to $107,262 in grants, which was an unbelievable year and really a dedication to the members of the REF and all the people in the community who support the programs and the various fundraisers they do to help support the schools. Tonight, I asked Dr. Lai to present to the folks who are here. Not all are here, but we're going to read out the various grants that were awarded and give a little certificate. This is not the check. The check's already been deposited in an account. This is just a certificate. And when you hear the types of grants, even though we may not go into detail about them, you'll understand the wide array of activities the REF supports. So if the person's here, come on up. If not, if one of the colleagues are here from a school, you want to take it and bring it to them, or I'll get it to them tomorrow. Okay? So, and we'll hold the applause, if any, for the end. Okay? I know Ms. Nastasi's going to bring the house down with applause, but okay. So we have flexible seating from Lincoln School for grade 3 class is Elizabeth Freitag. We have one school, one book for Lincoln and Washington School. Dr. Gina Valechko and also Bill Mulcahy. Dr. Valechko is here. The PBSIS Incentive Program, which is a behavioral program in concert with Rutgers University. Pierpont School, Dana Roman and Caitlin Jeffers. And I don't know, do you want to accept on behalf? Okay. Ms. Macri, she'll be accepting on behalf of all the Pierpont people that aren't here. Okay. Okay. It's like the Academy Awards. The Pierpont, you might as well stand up there for a minute, Joan. The Pierpont March Madness, which is an event that in the school for the students, and a social emotional learning event, and that's pursued Demir Prikalaki, I always mess up her names, and Tara Philp. And the Forces in Motions interactive and inspiring experience for students in math, 4th grade math teachers at Pierpont, which Ms. Macri is here for again. You need a bag for this. The math fluency mastery for 4th through 6th math and RTI students. That's Erin White and Joan Macri, who's here on our own behalf right now. And the Pierpont Sensory Room pursued Demir Prikalaki, and that's all grade levels in Pierpont for a sensory room. And Joan, you can accept on that as well. Okay, so that's Pierpont. Thank you, Joan. Thank you for being here. Moving on to the high school. Okay, and Margaret, you're going to be up there for a while. Okay, so the Sisterhood activity for girls who code, Margaret and Stacy. The Read Across America grant is Margaret and Stacy and Mike Stracco, and that's for the students from the high school who go down and work with students at elementary school. Women in STEM, Margaret and Stacy and Danielle Moore. I went out of order, so sorry about that. Thank you. I just want to see if you were paying attention. That's all. The Intro to 3D Design with Tinkercad, Margaret and Stacy. Okay, and the next up is the RHS Picnic Table Project, which was put forward by our student council rep and board rep, Poppy Bimson and Mr. Frank Morano. So, Poppy, you get it, right? You get the award. The publishing children's books for creative writing class, Melissa Dugard. I don't know if someone wants, Danielle or somebody want to pick up from Melissa. Sure. We have Heroes and Cool Kids, which is something that the high school students go down and mentor students in Pierpont, Gianna Arce and James Barnafiello. We have the main gym wall padding, a new wall padding in the gymnasium, Mr. David Frazier, and also a digital screen scorer's table. A scorer's table that has digital screen. Maybe Mr. Frazier, maybe you could take the others for Gianna and Jamie for the Heroes and Cool Kids. You'll take that. And also the digital screen scorer's table, which will be in our gym for competition games. A scorer's table that actually can display, information on the table. And that was James Portafiello put that grant in. And then, yeah, you got all those? Okay. And then Mr. Joe Cavesa is here for the Rutherford High School Marching Band. And the marching band needs a truck was the name of the grant. So now the marching band's going to get a truck. So, Mr. Cavesa. And then also from the high school, our textiles room, which is a lot of schools, again, this is a credit to the board and the people on the board for years, and that we have programs like textiles. And to revamp that room with new sewing machine and new equipment, textiles upgrade, Stephanie Bauman. Right from that. At Union School, we have a whole bunch of grants from Bill Helfingstein. I don't see Bill here, so we'll get it to him. But we have BattleBots, Oculus Quest 2, Co-Drone, Nano Helicopters. So all of that going to our STEM program at Union School, 4 different grants. And then in our math program with Caitlin Mastrofilippo and Lauren Fuchs, effective calculator use in the middle school. So that will go to Union School. And Dr. Lai, I'll get those over there tomorrow. And then also at Union School, increasing engagement and collaboration in math by using whiteboard tables, Jacqueline Herbeck. So again, those are Union School grants. And at Washington School, the power of creative play, Gina Ballesteri, and Pockets Full of Learning, the second grade teachers. And accepting, I guess, for the second grade teachers at Gina Ballesteri is Rachel Mejias, who's also getting a grant for taking the guesswork out of reading. Okay? So, congratulations, first of all, to everyone. I want to thank the teachers and the administrators and the supervisors who, take the time to do the research and dig a little deeper into their programs to see what things could really help out the program, and certainly the REF for all of your support over the years and the continued growth of the program. We're very, very appreciative of that. Again, a very abbreviated report tonight. Just that back-to-school nights were successful throughout the district. We're into October. This month is a week of anti-bullying, and in the third week of October, it's violence prevention. There's various activities going on throughout the district on all appropriate grade levels. And like I said, we're off to a good start. So that's it for my report tonight. We'll keep it a little shorter, and Dr. Lottie, I'll give it back to you.
All right. So we're going to give sort of a 2-minute pause to our meeting right now, just to allow those who need to leave and have other commitments this evening who can do so. And those who want to stay, you're welcome to stay. So we will begin again in about 2 minutes.
I'll give you Union School.
Can't get in trouble with the old time.
I know, but it doesn't make any sense. Where's the 50? When I counted, it's not a full 50. So it's like, it seems like it could be, right? Because this is 0, this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 40, 30, 10, 0, negative. I know, full football field, but like, there's no, it's close. Minutes, right? Are they like 45?
So could they do this as a practice field?
No, I think it's more for the van line. So like, so I think the middle is right, but the ends are just increasing.
All right, so we're going to reconvene. So I'll ask board members if they could come and take their seats.
This is like, this first cut is 280 something.
I'll just-
This is like 93 over here.
Okay, so we are going to move on now to the report of the president. My one thing I'd like to say for my report tonight is just to give you a date. June 20th, 2024. Mark your calendars. It is Rutherford High School graduation. We had a great showing with everyone coming to graduation this past year, so that is the official date. Otherwise, I didn't have anything else to report this evening, keeping it very brief. So at 8:01 p.m., we are going to open the meeting to the public for items related to the agenda. This is the first of 2 times we're opening the meeting to the public. Okay. Hearing nobody, we're going to close the meeting to the public, and we're going to move on now to new business where there's action to be taken. And as I indicated to board members beforehand, we're going to follow a consent agenda this evening. The only exception is for buildings and grounds where there will be an explanation. So just for timing purposes, a consent agenda means that the chair of the department will move the motions, and then we'll take a vote, knowing that board members have had a chance to ask questions beforehand or read everything that's in the packet. So we are going to begin with personnel. Mr. Conti.
Yes, we have 23 motions tonight. I'd like to move 1 through 23.
All right.
As listed.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. Bogosian. All right. Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes on all, abstain from 21.
I'm sorry, 21?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Olati?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We are moving on now to curriculum and instruction. Ms. Jones.
We did not have a curriculum subcommittee and our 5 motions tonight.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jones. You're moving all 5. Do we have a second? Mr. Healy. Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry? Dr. Olati?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move on now to finance. Mr. Bogosian.
We did not have a finance committee meeting since our last board meeting. Tonight we have 3 motions on the agenda. I'd like to move motions 1 through 3 under finance.
All right. Thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. Mazzone, any last questions? Oh, sorry. That's a second. And Mr. Kelly, please take roll. Creature habit.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Olati?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right. Policy. Mr. Healy, anything to report?
No, we did not have a committee meeting since the last board meeting. There were no motions.
Okay. Thank you. We are going to move on now to buildings and grounds, where you'll name the motion, and then we'll have a quick discussion, and then the vote. So, Mr. Sprayberry. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Dr. Zine.
No, it should be pretty quick. It's the same scope. We're just going to break it out between the base bid and alternates. We had got the bid last week had gone out as one big project, and the cost came in too high. So we split it out into other alternates. So we'll see how that comes back.
All right. Other questions? Mr. Conti.
Does it go back to the 2 bidders, or is it opened up to anybody?
It's opened up to.
Got it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Mr. Spraber, do you want to move it? All right. And second by Mr. Bogosian. Any last questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Olati?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move on now to old business. Is there any old business to report? No. Hearing none. Legislative update. Ms. Jones?
I'll hold it for another 2 weeks. I'll report in 2 weeks.
Okay. Yes, and just a reminder in terms of old business, our next meeting is the exciting Scholastic Awards that take place in the auditorium prior to the board meeting, which will then come here. All right, so at 8:06 p.m., we're going to open the meeting to the public for items related to or not related to the agenda this evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Yeah, no, it's too much technology. Do I need to state my name?
Yeah, your name and either address or municipality, whichever you're most comfortable with.
My name is Valkyria Duran Naruki, and I live in Rutherford. Some of you know where I live. I'm here to respectfully request that the board rules that an unwritten policy should not be allowed to be applied. We came across the situation recently unaware of an existing policy because this policy is not written anywhere. We would like the district to spell out why school students who leave a sport team during the season are not allowed to join another sports team. More accurately, we would like the district to outline guidelines to support students who are disillusioned about their experience in one sport to be allowed to join another sport where they think they will be better appreciated and successful. Currently, there is no clarity on this rule preventing Rutherford High School students from switching sports during the season. Coaches, guidance counselors, students, and parents do not know about this policy. Furthermore, we think that the application of this rule might not have been even or fair. We have evidence that due to FERPA laws we will not discuss at this time of this. The only person knowing of this rule is our athletic director, Mr. Frazier, who is the decision maker for all matters sports related. It has been our current experience that other administrators simply follow his recommendations. It would be better if we can all understand and therefore follow the same guidelines when this type of situation arises. If, as stated in the district's policy 2431 on athletic competition, the Board of Education recognizes the value of athletic competition as an integral part of the total school experience, then let's do our best to allow students to thrive in whichever sports activity they choose. When a student wants to switch an academic class, there are parameters to do so. For example, students can change one class as long as it is within the first month of the school year. Clear guidelines should be written for switching a sport. These could take into consideration grades, attendance, and perhaps most importantly, the character of the student. All of these parameters that can be objectively predetermined. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Any other comments during the open public session?
Hello, everyone. My name is Eddie Naruki, also from Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm here for basically the same situation where there is an unwritten rule that affects some of our students. I don't think it affects a lot of students, and that's one of the points I will make. I'll start by just talking about some of the movements and trends of education and SEL. SEL is, I believe, one of the initiatives that's been happening here in Rutherford and across our state and across our country, right? And SEL, social emotional learning, right? What are some of the keys? Differentiation, empathy, adaptation, and one of the key words, character, which my wife, I'm sorry, I'm married to her, she mentioned. And the character is key here, so please keep that in mind. These things are all intertwined. They're all intertwined to what education is all about. We're all I'm sorry, I'm an educator too. But if you're an administrator, if you're a coach, if you're a teacher, someone who works in education, you're an educator. You don't stop being an educator when you walk out of the building and you go coach at a field or a different facility, you're still an educator. If you're, whether it be the superintendent, to a principal, to an athletic director, you're an educator first, and that's why we're here. So when I talk about that, I talk also about, which I've mentioned to several people, the Danielson model of evaluation. What makes a distinguished educator? And again, as I said, I'm going to talk about two of the, there are 4 domains in the evaluation. And I just picked out a couple of things that I feel are important. Creating an environment of respect and rapport, fostering a culture for learning, support, and perseverance. Sorry. Communication with students, communicating with families, demonstrating, and this is key again, demonstrating flexibility and responsiveness. And all the, another key one that was in part of one of the domains of domain 2, modeling and teaching habits of character. So we are all here to support our students. We also have programs like the RTI model, which is a response to interventions. I know these are basically academic based, but this goes beyond. Like I said, these teachers, these coaches, our athletic director, everyone, you're all employees of the Board of Education. You're all linked and intertwined with everything that goes on. So you're a teacher at all times, and that's what matters. I've spoken to other ADs, 3 ADs of much larger schools about this, and several coaches about this, and they all wonder why. Why would a student not be able to move from one sport to another? They all allow it. And they just, again, they wonder why. And you know what, the first thing they said, especially if it's a good kid, why would you punish that kid? Why does this have to be punitive? If a kid's not happy, if the environment he's in with the team is not good for that person, let him move to, or her, or they move to another sport. Who does it hurt? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments during the open session? All right, hearing none, we're going to close the open session at 8:14 p.m. And we have a need to go into an executive session. We have 7 student matters to discuss. And so we'll be out for about 30 minutes or so. Need no action. No action will be taken. I need a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Sprayberry, seconded by Dr. Racine. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we are in executive session.